please welcome to the stage Cathy Lewis. Clap for Cathy.
I want to take you back to the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. This was the year of the magnificent 7 women's gymnastics team. Do you remember this? It all came down to one gymnast and one event. That was all that was standing between that team and the first team goal in the history of the United States. The gymnast was Carrie Strug, and the event was the vault. Do you remember this? What was amazing about this story is that Carrie Strug had very badly injured her ankle on the third event of the night. It was sprained. It might have been broken. They really didn't know. But her fourth event, the final event, was the vault. And she stood at the front of that vault approach, and she ran as fast as she could, knowing full well she was going to be in some very serious pain very shortly. She hit that vault. She did her 95 flips in the air. She landed with 8 times her body weight on her tiny little feet. And those of you who saw it remember that picture of excruciating pain that went across her face. But in just a moment, her fabulous coach, that Romanian bear of a man, Bela Karolyi, remember this? Came up and scooped her up in his great bear claws and ran her around that stadium to the worldwide applause of millions of people. Well, my daughter was 6 years old at that time, and like millions of other little girls, the next morning we were enrolled in gymnastics. Sports have never been a part of my life, which should be painfully obvious given this magnificent physique, but I was game for seeing what this was about. Well, for a sport where children don't wear shoes, it's really quite expensive. There are no cleats, nothing like that, but there's tuition, there's leotards, there are industrial drums of glitter and hairspray. It's an expensive sport. And one day, we were at the gym puzzling how in the world we were going to pay these bills, which were now looking an awful lot like a college prepayment plan. And one of the parents said, "I know just what we can do." And she was one of those parents who really was waiting for Bela Karolyi to call to invite her daughter to the Olympic team. I was not there for that reason. I had read some research that said that girls who are in sports just stay out of trouble. I was just trying to keep my kid off the crack pipe and the stripper pole. That's all I was there for. So she says, "I know what we can do here. I have got this covered. My friend's son is in the band over to the high school, and they are doing B-I-N-G-O bingo. And here's how it works. It's genius. The bingo parlor hires the parents to work the game. And we don't get paid, but we do get a share of the proceeds. And last year, that band got $100,000 and they were marching at Disney World." So I thought, well, gosh, $100,000, this will buy a lot of glitter. That is great. Let's do this. So we all signed up for the jobs. You know, you could sell tickets, you could sell cards, you know, you could do all this stuff. There was one job that looked great for me. It was being the caller. You know, I was a radio professional. I could do that. And no one had signed up for it, so I was very excited about that. But it was pretty soon when I figured out why everybody had not signed up for it. Because the bingo parlor is the Wild West, and the caller is the sheriff. I did not know that before I walked into a bingo parlor for the first time. I don't know, how many of you have been in a bingo parlor before? All right, well then you know what this is like, right? There are these rows of long tables, 300 people seated there week after week in the very same chairs they sat in last week because there's luck associated with that. They play 10 cards at a time. They have 9 combinations of trolls and stuffed animals in front of them. And 8 packs of cigarettes. And there is a haze over the room that is like Beijing in the springtime. It's not good. So into this atmosphere, I come thinking, we're going to have a great time and play some bingo. I didn't understand that there are people in the bingo parlor who firmly believe that it is their right to call and win bingo every time, and that you are the thing that is standing between them and their bingo. So one day, I thought things were going pretty well, and a woman stands up in the corner and screams, "Ball challenge!" Now, these are rarely words I use in the same sentence, let alone right next to each other. So I thought, well, we should see what this is about. And I said, what is the problem? And she said, I have played 10 games. 10 cards at a time, 10 games, that's 100 games. You have not called my lucky number G54, and I think you're hiding it. And I thought, wow, really? You should be cracking codes. If you can keep track of that and know that I have not called 54G, the CIA needs to speak with you. You could be doing more with your life, is the first thing I'm thinking. But then, pretty quickly, it's clear that I have an insurrection on my hands, because now she has given voice to the 300 other people in the room who realize their lucky number hasn't been called either. And I'm probably packing them somewhere in my pockets. And the turning point moment was that I realized I had to shift this. I had to take myself out of the hot seat and put her in the hot seat. So I fixed her with that look that works really well in my household with my husband and my daughter. And I said, let me tell you how this is going to go down. The G54 is indeed in this mixer, I promise you that. But if I have to pull every ball out of here, these are words you never think you're going to be saying in your life. But if I have to pull every ball out of here and show that to you, these people are not going to be unhappy with me. They're going to be unhappy with you, because you have stopped the train. Well, she had to think about that for a minute. And then I got a little power hungry, I'm going to admit it. I said, and here's what else, how this is going to go down. If I pull that G54 out of here, you are buying me crinkle cut fries at the snack bar. Okay, that was a little far. And finally, she looked and she thought about it for a second, and she said, well, it better be in there. And I said, I will assure you it is. And in that moment, I found out 3 fundamental truths. 1, I really didn't need the crinkle fries. That was the first one. The second is that there is a very good reason there are armed guards in bingo parlors. And the third is that if Thaler McCormick ever calls me and says, we're going to do bingo to raise money for 4 kids, I'm going to say, here's Tom Steffen's number. Good luck with that. And that's my story.